Hello guys, my name is Chelsea. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do base makeup for beginners. So that would be foundation, concealer, blush, bronzer, powders, all of that. But before we move on, if you could give me a thumbs up and subscribe, I would love you. Alright, and first you're going to want to moisturize the face because we don't want it crusty. So I am using the Origins Skin Matte Moisturizer with Willow Herb. And you're just going to want to rub this in. And I'm also going to use the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. You don't have to do this step. I just want a little more hydration because it's the winter time and my skin's very dry. And we're just going to let this sink into the skin. Alright, now after that you're going to want to prime the skin. I'm going to use the Revlon Photo Ready Brightening Primer. You can use whatever you have. You're just going to want to prime the skin to make sure that you have a good base to put down the foundation. And I'm going to just squirt this into my hands. And I'm just gonna rub it in there, warm it up a little bit. And I'm going to rub it on the skin. Get everywhere that I need it. And then once it kind of starts getting like tacky, I'm just gonna push it into the skin. I'm also going to use One Heck of a Blot Primer by Soap & Glory. You don't have to do this extra step. I just like this because it is a blurring primer and I do have larger pores right here in my T-zone, so I'm just going to prime those areas. Now that we've let the primer sink into our skin, and we are going to go in with foundation now. I'm going to go in with the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir. You can use whatever foundation you have. We're just going to squirt that on the back of our hand. So I'm also going to be using a sponge. This is my Morphe sponge with the angled side. You can use a brush if that's what you like to use. I'm going to use a sponge. And I also wet the sponge. I do this just because I don't want my sponge to suck up all the product. So I'm just using patting motions. I'm not swiping. I'm just taking the sponge and pressing it into the skin. Just bounce, bounce, bounce. Also going to bring the foundation down the neck. This one I do kind of swipe the sponge down my neck just because it's down your neck. You don't have to be crazy precise with it. You don't want the streaky lines, but you don't have to like bounce it in there. So I'm kind of like bouncing and moving the product. We're just trying to get the line out of here. Now that we have done the foundation, now we are on to concealer. I am going to be using the Shape Tape Concealer by Tarte. I'm in the shade Light Medium Honey. We are going to place it right under our eye, not too close. See where I'm at? I'm not too close to where the, like this eye crease is. I'm just going to go below that because we don't want to put the product right into the crease and we don't want it right up on our eye. I'm also going to take the concealer right in here just to highlight up there, and then we're going to highlight down here. I'm also going to spot conceal. If you don't know what spot conceal means, I am just dabbing the concealer onto the areas where I have pimples and stuff that I want to cover. And now I'm going to take the same sponge that I did the foundation with, and I'm going to just blend out the concealer now. And we are still using the bouncing motions. Now that we've got the concealer on, I'm going to set my under eyes. So first we are going to use the same sponge again, and we're going to pat out the creases. You see where the crease lines? We're going to pat those out, and I'm going to use this end just because it aligns with my eye and it's easier just to get in there. Some people, if you have a sponge like this and just has that pointy tip, you can just use that. I just like this side. And now that we don't have any more creases, we are going to set the under eye with powder. I'm going to use the translucent powder by Laura Mercier. You can use whatever translucent powder you'd like. I'm just going to again dip in the powder with the same beauty blender or sponge, whatever you want to call it. We are going to do the under eye. We are going to bounce it in there as well, just like we've been doing for every step. And for me, I don't like to bake. I just like to set my under eye and, you know, set it and forget it. I do not bake. After we have set the under eye, now I'm going to set the rest of my face with a pressed powder. This one is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I'm in the shade 120, and I'm not going to set my whole face. I'm just going to set the parts that just get oily throughout the day. And I'm also going to take this on the same sponge. If you want to powder with a brush, you can do that as well. I'm just going to set it with a sponge. So I'm going to set the chin and the forehead and around the mouth. And around the nose. Alright, and now that we've powdered and we look like a ghost, we are going to go in with bronzer. I'm going to use the Estee Lauder bronzer, and I'm going to take that on the Wet n Wild P53. Just gonna swirl it in there, tap it off, and then now we're going to go like right above your ear, like right here. And we're gonna bring it down. And I'm just kind of using circular motions. Just adding a little bit of dimension because we're not contouring either. And now we're going to do that same thing on the other side. And I'm also not taking this all the way down to my mouth. I'm just stopping right about here. We are also going to get the forehead. Just kind of like patting that in. Then we're gonna blend. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to put a little bit underneath my chin. Alright, and after that I'm going to go in with blush. I'm going to go in with the NYX Professional Makeup Sweet Cheeks Blush Palette. I think I'm going to take a little bit of this color and this orangey color. I'm just going to mix them in. And we are going to use the blush brush by Wet n Wild. Mix these two. Just tap it off. Sometimes I just go like this, just because these blushes are very pigmented and I'm not trying to look like a clown. We don't want to put the blush right on the front of your cheeks. We're going to want to go back this way. Kind of like how we did with the bronzer, but we're going to go above the bronzer. And I know that looks crazy, but we are going to go in with a powder brush. Has nothing on it. We're just going to blend those two together. We're going to blend everything on our face just so everything blends well together and we have no unnecessary lines. Alright, and now for the best part, we are going to put on highlight. I am going to go in with the Wet n Wild I'm So Lit. This is literally my favorite part, and if you have this, I don't go straight into this. I just use what's on the cap. This is more than enough because this is pigmented. I'm just going to take this right on the high points of my cheeks. So I'm just going to go in a C right here. So kind of like into the brow bone and like from here to the brow bone. Just a little C. I find that if I take the highlighter and just pack down like this, like a lot of people that you see, not that that's a bad thing, but for me, I have texture, and so if I do that, it's gonna emphasize my texture and it's just not gonna look good. So this is why I do the little C. Same thing on the other side. Oh, and I didn't tell you, I'm just using the highlighting brush from the same kit that the blush brush came in. So no numbers, just the highlighting brush out of that kit. And then we're going to do a little bit on the bridge of the nose, not the whole nose, just right here. And a little on the Cupid's bow. Ooh, a lot of it, I guess. You just pat that away. If that ever happens to you, you just pat that away. A little bit on the chin. A little bit on the forehead. Now we are going to set the face with a setting spray. We are going to melt in our makeup, lock it in. We don't want it to go anywhere. All right, I'm going to use the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. And I love to drench the face. You don't have to drench your face if you don't want to. That's just me. It's not gonna like tear down your makeup if you do it. I just like it because it really melts all your makeup together as one and it looks more like skin. On this step, you're not going to want to make any like crazy facial expressions. You're just going to want to keep your face calm. Sorry, I'm talking with my eyes closed. I don't know why I'm doing that. Alright, and this is the finished look. I'm going to do an eyeshadow look in my next video, so look out for that one. But this is the finished base. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. Yeah, but this is how you achieve your base. Bye guys!